Hello there, it is I, Gnome, and what I wanted to talk to you about today is this list of heroes of Warcraft III. You have everyone here, all 24 heroes, and what you see here is the base agility of each hero, their base average damage, the average damage that they're dealing at level 1. Also, their basic attack speeds, and these are the default attack speeds of these heroes. And which is really valuable to know because on Wikipedia, what you have there is, I wouldn't say the information is wrong, but their basic attack speeds are altered. They're immediately altered by agility that each hero has at level 1. So the values that you see there, that is not the basic attack speed of each hero. That is incorrect. And it kind of can create a problem if you're actually trying to go like nerd on this shit, is because when you're trying to calculate the attack speed increase for each individual hero, and you're going to look at Wikipedia values, then you're going to make a mistake. Because this is the default attack speed, and if I would consider agility, then the values would be the same as on Wikipedia. So these values are good to know when you're trying to, take agility, how much agility you have, and how much, for instance, you have attack speed increase from Gloves of Haste, right? You take both of those together, or maybe from some kind of buffs even, right? You take both of those, or all of those buffs, right? And then knowing the default basic attack speed of each hero, you can know how valuable those buffs are, right? How much of an increase it's actually going to be to the hero's attack speed, right? So we can also see here that each hero obviously has like his own main attribute. Like Blood Mage is an intellect hero and the Demon Hunter is an agility hero, right? Same as Pit Lord is a strength hero, which means that each point of strength gives them 1 damage, or each point of intellect gives them 1 damage, and same with agility, right? This is the base average damage of each hero at level 1, and this is pretty useful to have like a general idea of what they start with, right? As for instance, Keeper of the Grove is sitting at 2.18 attack speed, basic attack speed, and he also has like the lowest average damage, 23. Is really garbage, and he's kind of slow, right? Archmage, just a little bit better and just a little bit faster, or you're looking at Blood Mage, he's kind of low on the average damage, but at least he's fast, right? And you can utilize that, right? You can utilize that with Claws of Attack, for instance, because Blood Mage seems to be the fastest, but he actually isn't. And that's why I have kind of like of a problem, a small problem with the statement that Grubby made on his stream when he said he had like a spreadsheet, something similar to this, and he had all the heroes in the same order because it was based on how much basic attack speed each hero had, right? And he said there's no hero that multiplies his damage more via items than Blood Mage, which I completely disagree with, is because Blood Mage is not the one who's the fastest. it's the Demon Hunter who is the fastest. Because thing is, Demon Hunter already at level 1, he's just a little bit slower, but he has more agility, and the agility is not counted yet. But if you count the base agility that Demon Hunter has, immediately at level 1 he is going to be faster than Blood Mage. So when we're talking about, like, for instance, agility items, right, which give Demon Hunter not just attack speed, as agility would give like any hero, right, it also gives him +1 damage per 1 agility. So Demon Hunter is the best at utilizing agility gear, right, agility items. Or for instance, Demon Hunter is going to be the best at utilizing Claws of Attack, because he's the fastest, right? Still, you can say that Blood Mage is really fast. His only problem is that, like, he sits at lower amount of agility, so he has, like, at level 1 he has 28% attack speed increase, and he's also an intellect hero, right? And it's not even how you utilize a Blood Mage in the game anyways, right? But if we just consider the attack speeds, then yes, all these statements that I've made are true, that the Demon Hunter is faster than Blood Mage. So this statement is incorrect, it's wrong, but this statement, the higher they are in this ranking list, and he had like a list of all these heroes the same way, with their like basic attack speeds. He says the higher they are in this ranking list, the better they are at utilizing Claws of Attack, Circlet, and Gloves, and Slippers, and Mantle, and Strength, whatever it is that boosts their damage. The better they are at utilizing that. At utilizing that. That is exactly the quote, what he said some time ago on his stream. And I've heard this like a few times, because once he has shown the documents, and then another time he was just talking about it, and every time I had like a problem with the statements. And the only problem with the statement that I have, practically the only problem, is when he mentions gloves specifically. Because if we're talking about claws of attack, then obviously when we're talking about added damage, we want the added damage on the fastest hero, obviously, right? Of course, in the game, it works differently because they all have their own abilities, and maybe, obviously, we're not using Blood Mage as a goddamn auto attacker. We're using Blood Mage as a caster, right? He drains mana, he gets it, and then he shares it. So, I mean, that is like the main thing that he does, right? So, if there's anyone better, obviously we don't want to give Claws of Attack to the Blood Mage. For sure. But for instance, if it's Demon Hunter, yeah, we want to give him Claws of Attack. He's already fast, he is even faster, and if you give him Claws of Attack, or if you give him agility gear, great. But if you have, for instance, like as an elf, you have like Priestess of the Moon, or maybe you don't have as an elf Priestess of the Moon because you're just not playing her, right? And at the same time you have Demon Hunter, then when we're talking about gloves, I'd rather give gloves to the Priestess of the Moon rather than Demon Hunter. I would give him Claws of Attack because only, he's going to utilize Claws of Attack better, right? But gloves, this is basically a conversation about what do you want to do? Do you want a certain attack speed increase on a hero that is slow or that is really fast? Do you want this hero that is already fast, do you want him to attack a tad faster that you won't even see the difference practically? Or do you want for this hero that is slow to be faster, but you will notice it. It would be noticeably faster, right? Do you want to shave off of his basic attack speed more time, or do you want to shave off just a little bit of time on somebody who's, you know, already fast? Maybe fast enough, right? And that is the only problem practically that I have with the statements, because gloves are just just like attack speed increases are working really well on somebody that is just pretty slow, because usually in games, not necessarily this one, but in games like RPGs, like, or like some kind of like World of Warcraft or Path of Exile or whatever, right? Usually when you have like some kind of like slow attacking weapon, right, shaving off attack time off of a slow weapon that has like big damage, that is exactly what you want to go for. You don't want to necessarily shave off, you know, the time off of something that is really fast already, right? So when we look at Alchemist, right, and we give him like gloves of haste, that's pretty nice. Or like, for instance, on Priestess of the Moon, and she also benefits a lot from attack speed, by the way, if you're considering searing arrows. But let's say we're not considering searing arrows, but just because she's slow, you know, if you speed her up, you know, her DPS goes up pretty nicely, right? Of course, if we're comparing if we're just comparing like the DPS increase for each hero, you know, if we give like this hero gloves of haste or this hero gloves of haste, the DPS increase, it's the same, if I'm not mistaken. It's the same. But of course, like, if we're considering what that means for that hero in the game, right, not just by looking at their attack speeds, basic attack speed, then it's a completely different story, right? But either way, I'd rather give gloves to somebody who's slow than to somebody who's fast, if I want them to attack faster. But close attack added damage is best utilized on these like fast heroes, obviously, right? So either way, I talked about this, and of course, this information, I would say, it doesn't have like much value. The only value that I see is like for you guys is just knowing the default values of each hero, like what is their basic attack speed, unaltered by agility, unaltered by anything. What is it, right? To kind of like go off of that, and so that like your calculations of their like attack speed would be correct, right? That is valuable. And also like just the perspective on which hero is what hero, you know, like which attribute is the main attribute for which hero, right? Or like kind of like look at this and see, oh, you know, like Blood Mage deals shit shit damage, right? Per attack, right? Or for instance, somebody who's like, or an alchemist hits like pretty hard, but he's pretty slow, right? At least you get that perspective. Either way, thanks guys for watching, thanks for listening. In the next video, I'll definitely talk about like a more interesting subject, which is specifically talking about like heroes and their like an actual, value of items on each hero, considering their abilities, because that is like more important, right? Like, does somebody who is like a blood mage, right? Does a blood mage need actually like claws of attack? Do you actually want to put claws of attack on the blood mage or gloves on him? You can, of course, like if like if he's like the only character on which you can put them or something like, and the other hero is just, can't really utilize these right very well. But at the same time, it's like Blood Mage is still very busy with just a few things. He's either draining somebody or he's giving mana to like the second hero that you have, or like the third hero that you have, right? He's kind of like busy with his own things, and in other time he can auto attack. But I mean, auto attacking with Blood Mage, I mean, obviously it can have value, but he might as well not have these like items because he's busy with other stuff. Or like for instance like Blade Master, he's like running around auto attacking, that's what he's like interested in, he's just interested in dealing the most damage that he can. Or like for instance like somebody who's like Lich, he can auto attack, and all of the time when he's not casting his spells, because his spells are not channeled spells or or anything like that. It's just instant cast spells. You just cast them instantly, and then all the other time you're auto attacking. You're not really doing anything else. Same as like Lich can be a really, really good tank with that frost armor, right? Either way, cheers guys. See you in the next video, where I'm going to be talking about like specifically hero abilities and exactly how do some of these heroes work in battle and creeping and stuff like that. Cheers.